Sıradaki uluslararası markamız 29 Ekim'i birlikte kutladığımız günlerde çok etkileyici bir reklam filmiyle net bir gerçeğin altını çizdi. Azerbaycan ve Türkiye bir millet, iki devlet olarak varlıklarını geleceğe taşıyorlar. Kardeş ülkemiz Azerbaycan son dönemde özellikle Avrupa oyunlarıyla kendisini dünya spor haritasında önemli bir noktaya yerleştirmişti. Gelecek yıl Euro 2020'ye ev sahipliği yapan 12 ülkeden biri olacak ve bu yeri de sağlamlaştıracak. Azerbaycan sporunun en önemli destekçilerinden biri ise ülkemizde de faaliyetlerini büyük bir başarıyla sürdüren SOCAR. Bu dev kurumun sponsorluk faaliyetlerinin başındaki isim Nazım Aliyev yaptıkları çalışmaları Brand and Spor Summit sahnesinde anlatacak. Kendisini sahneye davet ediyoruz.
Merhabalar. İzninizle ben prezentasyonumu İngiliz dilinde yapmak isterdim. Oops. Us, SOCAR, being an industrial company from the traditional, very heavy oil and gas business, has done with international sponsorships. So I put a question at the beginning of my presentation. The dilemma of being a brand company or being a product company. It's really a dilemma which we faced during our journey, during the international sponsorships which we had. So SOCAR is actually an acronym. For those who don't know it, it stands for State Oil Company of the Republic of Azerbaijan. So we are the classical B2B company doing business, providing oil, crude oil, gas, and represent along the whole value chain. The value chain of the energy business looks like following. You are doing upstream, so you're producing, extracting the hydrocarbon resources from the Mother Earth, then you transporting it to, it's called midstream, so via pipelines or via vessels, tankers, and then you are bringing it down and refining it or distributing it. It's called downstream. So we're represented along the whole value chain at the mother company from Azerbaijan. By the way, I freshly arrived today from Baku, and it's my pleasure being with you here and talking to you. So, oops, I'm sorry, yeah, we are the big company without a consumer product on the European market. Started our international expansion more than a decade ago, around 2008, 2007, and the first acquisition what we have done was actually here in Turkey. We have purchased the majority share of the publicly listed company Petkim, which is the biggest petrochemical or polymer producer in Turkey on the Turkish market. And we are very proud that we have done it because it was a very good investment and we are doing still well, still holding the majority share on this. And we have expanded our business on around Izmir on the Aliağa Peninsula, becoming the biggest foreign direct investor in Turkey, investing around $19.5 billion in different types of businesses, including also the pipeline, the famous TANAP, and the freshly newly opened refinery, which is called STAR, also located on the Aliağa Peninsula. And in the plans, we are still planning to grow on the Turkish market. So, talking about SOCAR as a company from the classical industrial area, which is not very related to sports, I would like to mention some of the facts which we, people of Azerbaijan, are very proud about. There are some historical, here the timeline where we are particularly proud of, that the first industrial well ever drilled in the oil industry was done in Azerbaijan, close to Baku, in the year 1846. It's 7 years before the Pennsylvania has done it, and also it followed by the other achievements like the first oil tanker, the first pipeline, the first offshore drilling, and we're still keeping on this technological progress, or we're trying at least to keep this technological progress forward on in order to be competitive. So for us being a company a classical B2B company, so without or with a very limited product, we are also asymmetrically represented on the European or on the international market. Those flags depict the markets where we are represented. We have businesses in Ukraine, in Romania, in Switzerland, in Georgia, in Turkey, and of course in Azerbaijan. And yes, we are the biggest, as I have mentioned, the biggest foreign direct investor in Turkey. And this, I've heard it from the backstage that I was presented by the anchor that as a bir millet, iki devlet. Indeed, we are one nation but two countries. And this means that all our activities which we are doing, which we are applying in terms of sponsorship, partnership, in terms of corporate social responsibility, is always linked to the DNA which the company carries within, the Azerbaijani DNA. So we are very proud that we are here on the Turkish market and well accepted also from the business community here. Here are some milestones about what we are doing or how we are presented on the Turkish market. Here. That's what I've already mentioned, the purchase of the Petkim and the construction of TANAP and the Star Refinery, which was newly released in the year 2018, and the first product which was delivered by the Star Refinery, by the refinery, was recently in the year 2019. So some key facts about the presence on the Turkish market as well, but that's publicly accessible information and I don't want to bother you with these facts, which are maybe not that interesting for those who are from the sport and from the consumer goods industry, but still. And now what it's about, why we went into sponsorship and why I'm standing here in front of you and talking to you about that. Our idea was actually out of the European Far East where Azerbaijan is located. According to the physical geography, Azerbaijan is actually Europe, but Europeans do not accept that very often or do not understand it. Still, our idea was from the European Far East to bring the company and the awareness about the company, the awareness about SOCAR to the Europe's deep west. So the methods which we have selected, one of the very popular and very efficient methods which we have selected were of course sponsorships. So we have decided to sponsor mass events. The first aim was to select which areas we wanted to enter, which areas we wanted to support, to sponsor. I do not prefer this word sponsor because it implements always financial investment or dedication. I prefer rather the word partner, but still it's more clear to understand for everybody. So being a B2B brand is rather different to be a sponsor than being a B2C brand. If you have a product, a consumer good, like, I don't know, something from the food and beverage industry, something from the automotive, from the mobile or communication business or white goods, it's much easier for you because you can easily prognose your investment against your return. You can easily bring it to the customer, create this awareness, who you are, where you are from, and why you are doing this. Being a brand company, it's a little bit different, but still I would like to share with you our aims, why we were doing it. We have used the tool of sponsorships in order to prepare the markets, the potential markets for our market entry. For example, in the year 2012, if I'm not mistaken, we have acquired a petrol stations net in Switzerland. And I will tell you a little anecdote about that for that time, SOCAR corporate identity didn't look like that with a flame and what you see here. It looked a little bit different, more archaic, more like vintage, let's call it that way. And we have done an inquiry or an analysis on the Swiss market, asking Swiss consumers, guys, what do you think about this logo and so on? They didn't have any idea of that. And they told, okay, it looks very oriental. It looks for something which is from the Far East or from Arabic world and so on. So we have decided to rebrand it. And one of the tools which boosted our presence on the Swiss market was supporting or becoming the sponsor of one of the very famous, very popular for the Swiss consumers products, Montreux Jazz Festival. So we became the sponsors of Montreux Jazz Festival in order to communicate our brand and to create awareness for the consumers and to prepare the foundation for the further expansion in Europe, since SOCAR is expanding and was expanding the last 10 years on the international market. So the main idea which we tried to implement further and further was that we're a trusted company with some strong beliefs, with some clear understanding of good and bad, with dedication to the community where we are acting. And SOCAR, by entering any of the markets, tried to keep, until today it's working also very good, the main formula where in every market where we are, we're trying to be the local company. So SOCAR Turkey is a Turkish company run by Turkish people and for the benefits of the Turkish people and of the Turkish market. So it's not a foreign company where the Azerbaijani people are sitting and managing, and it will be done only for the profit of the mother company. So with this approach, we have tried to build up, being a newcomer, being a new player on the European or international market, the awareness about ourselves. So this ended up, for the last decade, for us, with sponsoring Montreux Jazz Festival, with sponsoring the International Judo Federation, with the Formula 1 Grand Prix. As you probably know that Baku is one of the host cities for the Formula 1. Since, if I'm not mistaken, 5 years we're successfully hosting the city circuit. So it's the Grand Prix is taking place in the city, which is, by the way, very astonishing. I recommend you, if you are around end of April, beginning of May, to visit Baku. And of course, football. Football, the most the most popular sport art, which is also traditionally connected with SOCAR. I will touch this point a little bit later, why we have started to support football, and especially European football. So, memo for a good sponsor, according to our experience, is before going international, it's always important to be, or to deploy, to support, to make your own experience first, nationally and regionally. What means it for SOCAR? SOCAR, since 15 years, is sponsoring the National Federation of Football Federation of Azerbaijan, same as also as the National Judo Federation of Azerbaijan. So after we have gained our experiences with national and with regional activity, then we went internationally to UEFA and to International Judo Federation, to IJF. The second one is negotiate a very good contract with sole and exclusive rights, which are dedicated only to you. It's very important for a newcomer, because you come to the big organizations, world brands like, I don't know, Champions League, FIFA, UEFA, whatever, and then you are happy that you are there, but it's very important to get in your contract some particular S&Es, sold and exclusive rights, which will distinguish you from the other sponsors, because otherwise you will be just one of the 10 or 6 or how many sponsors there are. And the third, of course, is prepare the activation plan, because becoming a sponsor is just one thing, but bring this to the broad community via channels which are very particular, very special, be it events, be it public relations, be it digital, which is now booming, and a very efficient way of bringing your core idea, your messages, and creating awareness for your company. So it's very important to have a very structured and very good activation plan. So I brought here the quote of George Bernard Shaw, which is, in my opinion, a very good one to set for a company if they're going into sponsorship. So hell is paved with good intentions, not with bad ones, and all companies mean it well. What does it mean? That means that how to create the right attitude for a newcomer, for a company which appeared out of nowhere and became a sponsor of a global event which will be viewed by more than 1 billion of people all over the world. It's a very sensitive approach. You have to be humble. You don't have to come big and start to promote yourself. You have to be very humble.
And you have to show dedication, and you have to be very transparent. Your community, your target group, the media has to understand immediately within 30 or within first 3 contacts who you are, where you're coming from, and why you're doing this. It's crucial to be very transparent and to show, yes, we are an Azerbaijani company from Azerbaijan. For example, our experience during the last Euro 2016 in France, we were not represented on the French market with any petrol station on lubricants. So the French consumer asked, okay, who these guys are? Why are they coming and sponsoring the Euro 2016? But we were working on the European energy security together with Turkey, with the TANAP, with TAP, and the whole Southern Gas Corridor. We are contributing with 10 billion BCM gas supply to the European energy security. So that is something for a French consumer very difficult to understand, because utility, electricity, gas, and so on, it's something what they think as a normal thing. You never think that there is a company behind who is bringing this gas or whatever for you, so you have light and you have gas. And the third very important pillar is, of course, the added value. So you have to give something to your target group. You have to give them some fun, some new experiences, some new feelings, and some new emotions. And that's how it ended, actually. So, just a little mentioning, in order to have the very clear strategy for sponsorship, you have to be very precise, put clear accents, and reject other offers. Because when you are starting to go international with international sponsorships, you're getting a lot of proposals all over the world. Please sponsor, I don't know, Malaysia Formula One, or Pan-African Football Championship, or American Football Championship. So there is a lot to do, and everything sounds wonderful, but it doesn't have any logic. So you have to be very precise, stitch to one what you have started, and keep on doing that. And so the first big thing what we have done was the campaign of 2016 Euro, which ended up, by the way, it was done with a very good team, with a very good creative team. Some of the members of this team I have met here today during the summit. It was Make Your Debut. So we were doing our debut, and during the Euro 2016, a lot of teams were for the first time ever in the final stage of Euro, like Iceland, Albania, Wales. A lot of new players, Gareth Bale was for the first time on Euro. A lot of players were doing their debut. A lot of fans for the first time ever went to Euro, got a ticket to enter that. So we have emphasized this idea of making the debut, because we were doing also our debut. So it was very humble, it was more giving than taking, and it was just celebrating all together the European football. And it went very successful. And I call it the 3-pillar dynamic strategy. So we have selected from the beginning on 3 areas which were important for us. Why these areas were important is very logical. We have selected to be a part of the world dialogue. So just as an industrial company, you want to be up to date about what's going on in the world, what are the global trends, where the world is facing in terms of petrochemical, in terms of energy security. So we have selected the World Economic Forum with its annual meeting in Davos, and the Munich Security Conference, which is covering the energy security. The culture is very important for everybody, and Azerbaijan has a very strong music culture. Some of you might know it. We have the music called Mugham, and it was synthesized with the jazz music in the beginning of the 20th century. And this jazz Mugham style of music is very popular in Azerbaijan. So we have decided to support something what is inside our DNA, something Azerbaijani, like jazz and Mugham, and went and brought it to the international arena by sponsoring Montreux Jazz Festival or Istanbul Jazz Festival also. And the third one is sports. Once again, you have to have this attachment to sports. You cannot just come out of the blue and tell, I would like to support tennis now because I just like tennis. It will create some criticism back in your home country, or in where you have some also corporate social responsibility. So we are sponsoring national football of Azerbaijan. Not maybe very successful, as you probably heard. We're still not in the Euro final stage, but we're doing our best. And also judo. So it was important for us to have this third pillar of of sports. And by these three pillars, I mean it that they don't have to stay always the same. They can change. After 5 years, we might change and not support anymore jazz, for example, or football, and might switch to something else, to basketball. And you don't have to be ashamed or afraid that you will be criticized for that. It's normal way of life, and it's normal way how the corporations are working. So I'm getting to the final part, and I have only 1 minute left. So I would like to disclose you some, or to tease you with some ideas which we have created for the upcoming Euro 2020. As you know, the next European Football Championship is going to be the truly pan-European one. It's going to take place in 12 cities. It's a 60th year jubileum Euro, so it's going to be something very special. And Baku, my hometown, is one of the host cities where 4 games are going to take place, including the quarterfinal. So we have thought about how we could continue this idea of make your debut, and how we could bring it on and have the same awareness building and the same sympathy creating for our brand. So we came up with this idea, SOCAR Go Far. It sounds also very similar. Go far. Why go far? Because you go far for something what you love. You go far for your team. You go far for your friends. You go far for good emotions. You go far for a good convention, for a good party. And you go far with your community. Footballers are going far. People are going far. So I would like to tease you now with a video, which I hope is going to work, about our idea for Euro 2020.
Ali rented a crane to watch the match. Maurizio tattooed his team jersey on his body. Clement went to every match of France with his rooster to bring luck to his team. Antonio told his wife he was going to the market, but he went to Russia to watch the match. Araz from Baku sleeps with his ball every night for the last 10 years. A group of fans who didn't have tickets tried to dig a tunnel into the stadium. Stefan escaped from hospital to play at his team's championship match. Yekaterina and Dmitry stopped their wedding to watch the penalty shootouts. How far can you go? SOCAR. Go far.
So with this idea, we're going to go public for the upcoming Euro. So 12th June, 12th July 2020. You have to go far, and I believe that you are going to go very far for your team, for your passion. So actually, I'm done. Thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation.